You've updated your resume, you've identified your skills, you're searching job boards every day, and you're applying consistently, but the interviews still aren't coming. So you start wondering, do I need another certification? Do I need to rewrite my resume again? Should I be applying to even more jobs? Maybe. But there's another possibility that doesn't get discussed nearly enough. You may be applying for the wrong opportunities, and I don't necessarily mean jobs you aren't qualified for. You could be highly qualified and still be targeting positions that don't make sense for where you are in your career. In today's episode, we're going to talk about job targeting and how to determine whether an opportunity actually aligns with your experience, skills, career level, and professional direction. Because a successful job search isn't only about how many applications you submit, it's also about where you're directing your effort. Welcome to Career Architecture, TM, on Tech Money Diaries. If you're interested in careers, leadership, technology, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, workforce trends, and the future of work, subscribe and join our growing community. Before we begin, comment below. When you search for jobs, what matters most to you? The title, salary, location, company, responsibilities, or something else? Let's get started. One of the easiest things to measure during a job search is application volume. 20 applications, 50 applications, 100 applications, sometimes even hundreds. And when those applications don't result in interviews, it's understandable to assume the answer is to apply to even more jobs. But application volume doesn't automatically equal application quality. If you submit 100 applications to positions that don't align well with your background, those 100 applications may not tell you very much about your competitiveness. That's why I think job seekers should evaluate something else: targeting. Are you applying for opportunities where your experience actually makes sense? And that analysis begins with something we discussed earlier in career architecture: the job description. A job title can be misleading. Two companies can use the exact same title for completely different positions. A program manager at one organization might oversee technology implementations. At another organization, that person may manage community programs. At another, they may manage product initiatives. And somewhere else, the role could primarily involve operations. That means searching exclusively by job title can sometimes lead you toward opportunities that look relevant at first, but become much less aligned once you examine the responsibilities. Instead of asking only, have I held this title before? Ask, have I performed this type of work before? That's a very different question. Your career is made up of more than job titles. It includes your skills, your accomplishments, your industry knowledge, your technical capabilities, your leadership experience, the stakeholders you've worked with, and the business problems you've helped solve. Those factors can sometimes reveal opportunities that a simple title search would miss. But there's another side to this. Transferable skills matter, but transferable doesn't automatically mean competitive. You may be capable of performing a role and still be competing against candidates with more directly related experience. That doesn't mean you shouldn't apply. It means you should understand the strength of the match before deciding how much time and effort to invest in the opportunity. Think about job alignment in layers. First, what does the employer absolutely require? Maybe the position requires a particular license, a security clearance, a specific technical skill, a certain number of years performing specialized work, a required degree, or experience within a regulated environment. Those requirements deserve attention. Next, look at the responsibilities. How many of those responsibilities can you support with real examples from your experience? Not theoretically, not something you believe you could learn, something you can actually discuss during an interview. Then look at the preferred qualifications. This is where many professionals eliminate themselves unnecessarily. Preferred does not always mean required. You may not need every preferred qualification to be a viable candidate, but you should understand where your strengths and gaps are. Quick reality check. Have you ever read a job description and thought, I could definitely do this job, but realized you couldn't clearly demonstrate that experience on your resume? If so, comment yes below. And if this discussion has been helpful so far, please like the video. It helps more professionals discover Tech Money Diaries and join the conversation. Another important part of job targeting is career level. This can become especially challenging for experienced professionals. Maybe you've been a manager, but now you're considering an individual contributor position. Maybe you've spent years as a senior specialist, but you're applying for leadership. Maybe you're transitioning industries. Or perhaps you intentionally want less responsibility than you had previously. There's nothing inherently wrong with any of those decisions. Career progression doesn't have to move in one direction. But employers may have questions. Why does this opportunity make sense for you? Why are you making the transition? What are you looking for now? Being able to explain that decision clearly can be important. Job targeting should also include practical alignment. A position can look perfect professionally and still be wrong for your life. Look at the location. Is the commute realistic? If the position is hybrid, what does hybrid actually mean? 2 days in the office, 4 occasional meetings. Is travel required? Does the schedule work for you? Does the compensation align with what you're willing to accept? Are there licensing, residency, citizenship, clearance, or geographic requirements? These details matter because the goal isn't simply to receive an interview. The goal is to identify opportunities you could realistically accept if an offer were made. That leads to another important question. Does the opportunity support where you want your career to go? Not every job needs to be your dream job. Sometimes a position provides stability. Sometimes it gives you new experience. Sometimes it helps you enter a different industry. Sometimes it develops leadership skills. Sometimes it gives you access to technology you want to learn. And sometimes it's simply the right opportunity for the season of life you're currently in. Career strategy isn't about pretending every move has to be perfect. It's about understanding why you're making the move. Before you apply, ask yourself, what would this opportunity add to my career? Maybe it adds income, maybe stability, maybe leadership experience, maybe industry exposure, maybe technical skills, maybe flexibility, maybe a stronger professional network, maybe a path into something completely different. If you can't identify what the opportunity adds, it may be worth asking why you're applying. There's also a cost associated with every application. Your time, your attention, your research, resume customization, cover letters, assessments, screening calls, interview preparation, follow-up, potentially several rounds of interviews. That means your job search has limited resources just like any other project, and those resources should be allocated strategically. Instead of treating every job posting equally, you can begin evaluating opportunities based on alignment. I like to think about this through 5 questions. First, can I demonstrate that I meet the core requirements? Second, can I connect my experience to the actual responsibilities? Third, can I explain why this opportunity makes sense for me at this stage of my career? Fourth, do the compensation, location, schedule, and other practical requirements work for me? And fifth, does this opportunity move me towards something I actually want? You don't need a perfect yes to every question. Career decisions are rarely that simple. But those questions can help you distinguish between an opportunity worth serious consideration and an application you're submitting simply because the job appeared in your search results. And there's one more important point. Strategic targeting doesn't mean you should only apply when you meet 100% of the qualifications. Job descriptions can describe an ideal candidate. Organizations may ultimately hire someone who meets most, but not every, preferred qualification. There is room for transferable experience. There is room for career transitions. There is room for growth. The goal is not to talk yourself out of opportunities. The goal is to make informed decisions about where your experience has the strongest story, because when you understand why you're applying, you can communicate that more effectively on your resume, during recruiter conversations, and throughout the interview process. So if you've been applying to job after job without getting the results you expected, before automatically submitting another 50 applications, review your targeting strategy. Look at role alignment. Look at responsibilities. Look at career level. Look at practical requirements. And look at long-term value. You may discover that your next step isn't applying to more jobs. It's becoming more intentional about which jobs deserve your application. Career Architecture TM isn't about chasing every available opportunity. It's about learning how to evaluate opportunities in the context of the career and life you're actually trying to build. If you found value in today's discussion, subscribe to Tech Money Diaries. Every week we explore careers, leadership, technology, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, workforce trends, and the future of work. Like this video. Share it with someone who is currently navigating a job search. And comment below. When deciding whether to apply for a position, what is your number one deciding factor? I read every comment and look forward to hearing your perspective. Career transitions can challenge our confidence. They can test our patience, resilience, and perspective. Many of life's most important lessons aren't learned when everything is going according to plan. They're often learned while navigating change. That's one of the themes explored in my book, Wisdom Earned, Not Taught: Finding Growth, Resilience, and Purpose Through Life's Challenges. Life is the classroom. Experience is the teacher. Wisdom is the diploma. Wisdom Earned, Not Taught is available now in Kindle and paperback editions on Amazon. Thank you for watching Career Architecture TM on Tech Money Diaries. I'll see you in the next episode. Educational and informational disclaimer. This video is provided for educational and informational purposes only. The content reflects general observations, professional experience, research, and analysis, and should not be considered employment, recruiting, human resources, legal, financial, or individualized career counseling advice. Job qualifications, hiring practices, interview decisions, compensation, employment requirements, and career outcomes vary by employer, position, industry, location, individual circumstances, and market conditions. Meeting some or all qualifications for a position does not guarantee an interview, offer, or employment. Always review official job requirements, conduct your own research, and use your professional judgment when deciding whether to pursue an opportunity.